Hey everyone, this is Stan with TopSurfer.com. It is June 6th and it's a Wednesday, and so it's time for Stan's tip of the week. So this week I've decided to kind of give you a general idea of what is completely needed for a website. Now I'm not going to go into every detail, of course, but I just wanted to kind of go through what you need if you're going to have a website. And so if you've ever thought, hey, I want to have my own website, here's what you're going to need. And so let's kind of get to it really quickly here. First thing you're going to need is some type of domain name. Now, that can be a subdomain name, where basically somebody goes out and they buy a regular domain name and then they just give you a subdomain name, which is basically something that's attached to something.com. So, for example, topsurfer.com, if I had a subdomain of that, it could be sales.topsurfer.com or whatever. You do have to be careful of how you manage your subdomain names because they are seen as individual sites by the search engines. So, Google and Bing and all of them, they see those subdomains as individual websites themselves. And so if you're trying to build up SEO and you have a lot of content on subdomains, that content might not affect the main domain name. And the reason that they do that is because there are a lot of hosting companies out there that will give you subdomains. So, like for example, WordPress.com, you can go get a subdomain at WordPress.com, and it won't affect WordPress's SEO. Maybe after you have hundreds of them, Google might start to see that they are a popular site, but other than that, your general website's not going to be affected. So the other one, of course, is a regular domain name. Regular domain name would be something like topsurfer.com. Now you get your domain name at a registrar. You may have heard of GoDaddy. The one that I prefer is called Namecheap, and Namecheap basically you can go there, you can choose a domain name, and it's about $12 to $13 a year. And from there, you basically you'll go in and you'll put in your information, you'll buy the domain name, and then what you'll need to then put in is you'll need to put in what's called a name server, and the name server basically points the domain name to the hosting company or to the server itself. So hosting basically is that somewhere your files all have to exist somewhere on a computer, and that computer is called a server. And so the server basically serves information to the internet. It's hooked up 24/7, never gets turned off. It usually has battery backups and all kinds of fun things like that. It's usually a pretty high-end computer. And it's usually located in a data center, which is a big facility. The one that I have, it's only about 5 minutes from me. I mean, there's fingerprint readers. You have to have an ID card that you swipe that, then it reads your fingerprint. Then you go in and there's a guy at the front desk, and he makes sure who you are. And actually, I can't even open up my own cabinet. He has to go unlock my cabinet for me at this particular data center. Some data centers you can just have a combination code and you can open it up yourself. But at this particular one, he actually has to go unlock it for me. I have about six. I got another one sitting here right behind me. So I got a total of 7 servers that I'm going to be putting in there. So servers basically can have hundreds of websites on them. Really, Top Surfer pretty much has only if the Top Surfer server only has a few websites on them, and those are ones that kind of support Top Surfer. We actually have our own server that all it does is doing the solo ad emails. So when if you order a solo ad from us, it's the emailing is a really big hog. It takes up a lot of resources, and because what happens, excuse me, what happens is it goes out and it tries to email the people, and if it can't reach the site that it's trying to email to, it gets bounced back and it gets held for a little while. And anyway, it's a big mess, and so we have one server that's dedicated just for emailing, and that's all it does. And so basically, what you do is you buy your domain name and you would ask whoever's doing your hosting for you what the name servers are, and then you would have to go into Namecheap or GoDaddy or whoever you're using for your registrar, and you would put in the name servers, which is usually something like ns1 dot whatever.com, and then ns2 dot whatever.com or whatever. And there's usually two of them. Sometimes there's more. but usually that's the case. So if you do get your hosting through us, so with Wholesale membership, we offer free hosting. If you want to have us register the domain name and set all that up for you, then it's $19 a year, and we set it all up for you. We get the hosting set up, and we get the name set up, and so you don't have to fiddle with any of that. Um, but then you have Wholesale membership comes with free hosting, and you can actually use a subdomain if you want, which you don't have to buy any domain name. But if you want to have your own domain name, you can go set it up yourself. We can give you the name servers, or you can just say, you know what, here's $19. You guys set it up for me. With Namecheap, it's usually about $12 to $13 if you go and buy it yourself. But if you want us to set it up, it's 19. Okay, so moving on, the next thing you're going to obviously need is some content. And usually the content is served up by a content management system called a CMS for short. And the number one content management system out there is WordPress. That basically was originally created to create blogs on the internet, and then they realized that people wanted it just to make web pages, and so it really is a great web page builder. And you can basically set up a theme and then go in and create pages, create blog articles and different things like that. It manages all your images and all kinds of things. It actually is a pretty wonderful thing. I used to not like it because it was very restrictive of on the design end of it, that you basically had to go buy a design, a template, install it, and then you were kind of stuck. But since over the last 4 or 5 years, they've really started modifying the themes to where you can modify them really easily. My favorite is called Themify, and that comes free. The Ultra theme from Themify actually comes free to you because I have a developer's license, and so I offer it to everyone that we host a website for. It's there, and it allows you to really customize the look and feel of your website. It is a theme, however, it basically gives you the options to change all the colors and to make all kinds of wonderful modifications. It does say it takes some fiddling with, and content is king on the internet. So if you look what the number one website in the world is, it's Google. And what is Google doing? They're giving information to people, and what they do is that they rank websites higher if they have more and better information. And so that's how you have to be careful of what type of content you put on your website, and you want to make sure it's proper. And so that's where SEO comes in, that's search engine optimization. And so with content, there's a lot of things to be worried about. First of all, you want it to be pretty, but you also want it to have information. Plus, you want to be able to sell your product on there or your service on there. And also, you need to be careful of search engine optimization. But you also need to guide your client or your visitor by the hand and kind of tell them what you want them to do next. And so that's called conversion. And so you need to be mindful of the design, the conversion, and the search engine optimization. And those are the three main things that you need to be careful of. So along with that, you can be selling something. So if you have a product that you want to sell, then you basically are going to need to have some type of shopping cart. And so there's various types of shopping carts out there. If you are selling just a handful of items, you can use WooCommerce shopping cart, which is a plugin for WordPress. And that's a great thing also about WordPress is there's a whole bunch of plugins out there. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of free plugins out there that you can add to your site to enhance it and to add function to it and all kinds of things like that. And so if you're going to be selling something, then you probably need some type of shopping cart. So we have WooCommerce if you're just going to sell a small handful of things. If you're getting a little bit more complicated, you want some detailed information, a really good shopping cart would be OpenCart. So that would be to replace or to be in addition to WordPress. So you could you could kind of use WordPress as your main site that talks about everything, and then add OpenCart for your shopping cart. However, OpenCart by itself, you can create individual pages and stuff like that. But if you're planning on creating hundreds of pages, hundreds of blog posts, things like that, then you might want to consider installing both, and then having when people are ready to to start shopping, they actually will click and go, and then it switches them over um, to another folder which has OpenCart in it. But there's also Shopify, and there's some other stores that you can pay. You can pay monthly fees. You just got to be careful of those because they can start getting pricey after a little while. The other thing you need to be worried about is payment method. So that can become a big issue when you're selling something online, is how are you going to get paid? Because everyone wants your money, and so the payment method is going to want it as well. PayPal has their fees, credit card processors have their fees, and so you just kind of want to be careful how you're going to be processing your payments, and how that works with your shopping cart itself, because some shopping carts only support certain payment methods, and so you just want to make sure that you're using a good one. Now, there are some great credit card processing companies out there. You might have heard of Stripe and Square and things like that. You just have to be careful of what type of fees you're going to be doing. If you are going to be doing a lot of transactions, and you know you're going to be doing a lot of transactions, then look into a good reputable merchant service. Now, it does take a credit check, and you have to go through submitting an application to them and things like that, because you're basically vouching for yourself to be able to receive this money. You're creating a bank account, and the thing you need to be worried about with payment processors are, there's actually usually three things involved. There's the actual bank where the money is actually being processed, and then there is the I can't remember what it's called. There's the agent, basically the person who sells you and sets you up for the bank and all that. But then there's also a gateway system, and so you have to be careful that some companies who are selling credit card processing don't have their own gateway, and so they turn around and refer you to Authorize.net, which is the largest gateway out there, but they charge a monthly fee plus a per transaction fee. So you can be nickeled and dimed to death. If you are looking at doing large transactions, I would recommend who I go through. And hold on a second, I'll look them up. I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, sorry, my mind went blank. They are paylinedata.com. So it's paylinedata.com. I get nothing for referring you over to them except for the fact that I've enjoyed using them. They've been really easy to use. Setting up their processor and stuff like that has worked really well. And they have their own gateway. So that's who I recommend you use if you are looking to really do a lot of processing. Give them a call or go to their website and check them out. That is basically what I have for you. That kind of summarizes everything that you kind of really need to think about as you go about setting up your website. And if you do need help, go to topedgeservices.com. That is my website. That's the site that I basically use to service people when they want me to build a website for them. So I'm not only a website owner, but I also do website development for other people. And if you'd like my help in doing so, just contact me and we can talk that over. And I have a wonderful program set up of how I do that. I don't bid on projects. Most developers will actually just bid on the entire project and say, here's how much it's going to cost you. I don't do that. I bill you by the hour. That works out well for me, and it works out well for you in the long run. Usually my clients save a lot of money by doing it that way. Besides that, you can pay as you go. So you don't have to come up with half down and then, when I finish it, the other half. You basically just say, hey Stan, here's $100 to get started. I get going on that. Once that $100 is used, then I just wait for you to send me some more, and then you send me some more. So if you can send me money every week or every month, then it just gets slowly built, and it works out really well. I've had some clients that have been really, really happy with that process. I have some regular clients that's all they do, is they just have me doing that type of thing all the time. So anyway, hope you guys have a successful week and that you stay safe, and we will see you at the top.